And here, this is how we're going to finish up now. We got Katie Evans, the CBDO of Swarm Markets, explaining why they chose Hedera to make publicly listed stocks such as Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, and MicroStrategy available as collateral on the Hedera HBAR network. So they chose HBAR. There's so much upside potential with this partnership. We've got the YouTube video right here, so we're going to tune in. But Swarm Markets is a multi-asset RWA platform powered by SMT, own real stocks, bonds, and gold on chain. 100% backed, insolvency protected, DeFi compatible. You know, I do my gold on chain. Like, I think it's a good way to own it. It just makes it a lot easier. So let's pull up this video. Just give me a second to make sure we got the, there we go.
My name's Katie Evans, and I am the Chief Business Development Officer at Swarm. Swarm is very plainly an end-to-end protocol that brings traditional assets, financial assets like stocks, fixed income products, commodities, onto blockchain. I think from an early stage, we were able to separate the crypto asset from the underlying technology, and found that if you use this technology in a very interesting way, you could actually build and program traditional financial markets in a new way that allows you to not only do things more efficiently, but enables you to do new things as well with those assets. We announced with Hedera a couple months now ago that we were going to be deploying our assets onto the Hedera network. So what that means is we are enabling publicly listed stocks. Think of your Apples, Teslas, Nvidias, MicroStrategies of the world. Those will be available as collateral on the Hedera network. And the reason that that's important is because you'll be able to do things with those tokens like you would with any crypto asset available on the Hedera network. But crucially, these assets are completely uncorrelated to the current crypto assets that are available today. As we all know, when Bitcoin sneezes, all the other altcoins catch a cold. So it's really important that we have a diversity of assets available to people so that they can come up with interesting hedging strategies, portfolio construction, and lending capabilities as well.
So what you'll find, and I apologize, my comments got cut off before. What you'll find is that a lot of these companies, they're just really not that interested in the crypto itself. They just want the technology. Now, the coin is important for sustaining that technology, but it's not something they're going to care about. It's kind of what Silvio Macaulay was talking about when he started his fiat chain. Kind of same principle here. What they want is the technology, and Hedera provides a really good basis to tokenize assets on without, while keeping it separate from the assets, so they don't have to care about the Hedera price. I think that's going to be a really important aspect going forward. Like I said, Ondo this has kind of built their whole business on RWA, but that doesn't mean Hedera can't have a really strong RWA play, because it can, because it's got the big name institutions, these huge companies, these household name companies that people care about, and that gives it's a signal of legitimacy to a lot of these enterprise solutions.
So the reason Swarm chose to work with Hedera is twofold. Firstly, Hedera has stood the test of time when it comes to crypto markets. We've all seen crypto projects come and go, particularly with high highs and then the low lows of the market downturn. And it really is interesting to see who is left behind or is still able to continue and have that longevity. So for us, that was a major trust component to us wanting to choose to work with the Hedera Foundation and deploy onto the Hedera network. Secondly, and probably most crucially, Hedera has a very institutional-focused and compliance-first attitude in mind, and that exactly aligns with what we have at Swarm. All of our infrastructure is built with regulation in mind, with trust, with investor protection. Even in the absence of regulation, we've still built our infrastructure so that individual and institutional investors are protected. And I think the Hedera network certainly caters to those tenets as well. Swarm is looking at applying blockchain technology to traditional financial assets for a few reasons. Not only to rebuild financial markets that are more lean, more efficient, disintermediated, but it also not only enables access for more people around the world to get involved in these new market types, but it enables you to do things that you couldn't previously do before. Hedera is a crucial part of that puzzle because we believe that the community that they have built, the people that are using that chain, are absolutely perfect for this use case. The next 1 to 3 years, what does that look like for Hedera and Swarm? Honestly, I don't know if our brains can get there yet because there is so much upside potential with this partnership. We're starting off with enabling a certain amount of publicly listed stocks on the Hedera network. And in fact, we've worked with the foundation to actually add new assets to our EU prospectus. An EU prospectus, without getting too into the weeds of the legal and regulatory speak, puts us in quite a unique position because it means we can offer these assets to both retail investors and institutional investors, whereas mostly today with RWA providers, they can only serve on that institutional side, not on the retail side. So we've added new assets, which means people are going to be able to trade more assets specifically on the Hedera network. I'm really interested to see what people build on top of those assets as a result, because once you have issuance solved, which is what we're working on today, we'll then solve for trading, and then we'll then solve for lending through a series of partnerships. And I think when you start to see people lending against their tokenized Starbucks stock to then go and buy a cup of coffee, that's going to just like blow people's minds. And I think that's where this partnership could take us, but it could also go in myriad other ways as well.
I guess I see the point of that, because if you own assets, you don't necessarily want to, and I know she's probably using that example because it's like kind of a cute way to illustrate it, but I think that's something that seems funny about like owning Starbucks stock and then borrowing against it to go buy a cup of coffee. Like, I get the idea because that's a good way to avoid capital gains tax, is to borrow against your assets versus, borrowing against your assets versus actually selling stock and then, getting those capital gains taxes. So I guess that makes sense, but something seems funny about like at that like micro level, it seems like you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot in a way. Algo Gary says, I don't mind the angle they take. Nice to experiment as well. Yeah, I think it's I think you're going to see a lot. I think RWA is going to be the theme of 2026 for sure. I really do.
Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I'm in the RWA space, and I do honestly believe it is blockchain's killer app right now. We've seen with stable coins to begin with how this stuff can move on chain and work in a very effective cross-border way. And now we're adding the RWA sector to stable coins. And when you start to look at, settling a fixed income product against a Turkish lira stablecoin or a euros denominated stablecoin, you can start to see some really interesting financial products coming to market that just have not been really available in today's current infrastructure.
That appears to be that. Yeah, so I think that's a huge play for the RWA space, is having this Swarm company involved, and that can mean what that means for Hedera holders, by the way, because even if you don't care, like if you're in the US and you're like, whatever, I can trade stocks the normal way and I'm fine with it, that's fine. Just the fact that the transactions that it will bring to Hedera, which will start increasing volume and activity, that's all good. That's all good for the network, and Hedera's TPS has been growing lately, which is nice to see. So I think that's really important. And yeah, it was nice to get that video. I'll give it a like.